So we've got another creature vote to go over, and this one specifically is going to only be on ARK Survival Ascended. This creature will not be coming to Survival Evolved at all, and this creature itself will actually be exclusive to the Scorched Earth map over on Survival Ascended. So yeah, this is something that they're doing moving forward with all of these like story DLCs for Survival Ascended. They're going to be adding a real life dinosaur to each of them, so let me just break them down. We have Scorched, of course we're voting on this one. We have Ab, we have Extinction, Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, and each of those maps will actually be getting a brand new dinosaur. We don't know if we're going to be voting on all of the maps, but we're voting on Scorched here today. So yeah, let's break down these top 10. Actually, real quick before we do get started, I'm going to leave a link to this down below, and I urge you to go over and vote. Usually these videos that I make about the votes get a lot of views, and then not that many people are voting, so I definitely urge you to go over and cast your top 10. And let me explain real quick how you actually do the whole like voting system, because it's not like you don't just pick one, you have to actually rank a top 10. So the way that you can kind of do it is essentially let's say this one here is my favorite, right? Okay, if this one gets the least amount of votes in the first round, because there's going to be 9 different rounds, if this one gets the least amount of votes, that one essentially gets pulled out of there, and then this one here will become my new number 1 spot, if you can kind of understand that. So you do actually need to rank them properly. So at minimum, I would say if you have a top 4, definitely rank those ones. And if you don't care about the rest, then you don't have to bother. But just know that you might be throwing your vote away just a little bit if that is the case. If there's some that you definitely really do not like, put them all the way at the bottom right here. And yeah, that's essentially how it all works. Another thing is, we're going to be voting on the actual creature itself. I see time and time again with these creature votes, people are seeing these ideas and being like, I want that specifically, and they're more excited about the idea than the creature itself. We're not voting on these ideas. These ideas are not set in stone. Wildcard have time and time again not taken all of the ideas submitted by the actual by the people that actually submit these creatures. A classic example of this happening was back with the Dinopithecus. It was supposed to have guns. That's what it was submitted as. And of course, in the end, it didn't have that. It has grenades instead, but you know, it's not really the same thing. So just bear in mind, we're voting more on the creature. So I would say get more excited about the idea of whatever creature you like out of this, and think of that based on Scorched Earth only. And if it suits, then, you know, pop that up into your top slots. And yeah, so anyway, let's go through the top 10 here. So first of all, we have the Gigantophis, I assume. It's a gigantic snake. Let me show you the size of it compared to a Titanoboa. This is the Titanoboa here. This one right here is the Gigantophis. I think I'm pronouncing that right. This thing originally was an actual sea snake, and the person who submitted this did pretty much come up with a good argument here. So it was a sea snake, but they basically turned the Titanoboa from a constrictor into a viper, so, you know, they could easily do the same with this. And I do have to say, if they're going to add another snake, I really hope they do cool patterns like this, because the Titanoboa patterns are terrible. You know, we also have the Basilisk as well, but it's not really the same. So yeah, I don't know, just having really cool patterns could make a lot of sense. But another thing as well, actually, I don't think this creature would be rideable. I mean, like, unless they made it close to basilisk sized, I don't know if you'd necessarily be able to ride on it. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to actually have, you know, a gigantic snake bigger than the Titanoboa, because I'm pretty sure that actually was supposed to be the biggest snake in history. At least I think it might have been. But yeah, so anyway, the way that I can kind of see this creature fitting into ARK would be more of an ambush kind of predator. They could make it smaller and just kind of have it sitting in the sand, more like a little like sand Perlavia. And definitely this creature would end up in the caves on Scorched Earth as well, so it would shake up that whole game just a little bit. Not a whole lot else to say about this, you know. I mean, like, yeah, it would just be a big ass snake, I suppose. Probably not bigger than the Titanoboa, but I mean, who knows? They could definitely make that change. Next up, we have the giant moa, and this honestly suits Scorched Earth super well. A flightless bird that would be very fast and also quite large. Here's what they look like in real life. The females were larger than the males. I hope that if they were to add this creature that they keep that in, because that could be kind of interesting. Maybe you could like ride on the female and maybe not the male or something. Could be kind of cool. But yeah, so the whole idea here is that it would essentially have a platform saddle. I'm not entirely sure if that would really get added though, if I'm gonna be honest. Although if they don't add that, then it's a little bit too similar to a terror bird without the flight. You know, I guess terror birds can do their little like fluttering, but this thing probably couldn't do that. It doesn't actually have proper wings. But I don't know. I don't know whether or not they'd actually add a little platform saddle to it. Could be kind of interesting, but yeah, I don't know. Something like this actually suits Scorched Earth super, super well. This image right here just sets the tone amazingly. I gotta say, like, this actually gets me really excited for a creature like this. But yeah, so could be a really good creature to get into the trench, and then eventually, obviously you won't be going down into the trench with this thing, but maybe getting to the trench and then you grab your eggs and then hop onto a creature like this and just leg it out of there. Could be an extremely fast creature in the sand. So yeah, something like that actually would be kind of amazing. Again, like, all these ideas don't really matter too much. Yeah, just a gigantic Moa. I don't know. Could be cool. Once more, we have the Bastion Beetle, and once more, the images have not been copied correctly, because now you can hardly even read anything that's actually there. But yeah, this Bastion Beetle's been in, I think, every single creature vote, to be honest. Like, it's been in so many of them now, and it's gotten close so many times, but at the same time, like, I feel like if it doesn't win this one, we need to just retire it, you know? We need to stop using this one, and I'd go over some other ones. And I'm not saying that I don't like it. I actually put this kind of high up on my list the last time. So this creature would start out as a little larva that would be a shoulder pet, and then it would grow into some different stages here, and then eventually when it gets to its largest larva stage, it would go through a transformation and either become a male or a female. If it becomes a female, it looks to be a lot smaller and it doesn't have the horn. If it becomes the male, it becomes a lot bigger and it does have the horn. So something like that actually could be really cool. I mean, right here is a definitely AI generated image right here. I like this because the saddle looks very Scorched Earth-esque. But yeah, so something like that could be really cool. The other concept, actually, you know, the whole male, like, dueling with their horns could be really awesome. I definitely could see them doing that if they did add this creature. That whole concept of the actual, like, larva to adult stage, I could definitely see that being added as well. I mean, like, that's something that wildcard probably would do. Let's see, let's go further down. There is another image down here, the whole idea of it actually having a minigun saddle if it's the male, and then if it's the female, I guess it has kind of like a cannon, like, tank saddle, essentially. So yeah, I don't know. If you guys like it, you know, put it high up on your list. Again, like, this thing's been in so many votes now, like, I don't know if it's ever gonna win. I mean, it definitely suits Scorched quite a lot, so it makes a lot of sense for it to be in this list, but yeah, at the same time, like, we need to retire it if it doesn't win. There's another cool image. This whole armor thing, that's never gonna happen. 100%, that would not happen at all. This right here, this makes me laugh. The idea that the males could scoop up creatures with their horn and then, like, throw them around or whatever. That definitely would happen, I think, as well. But yeah, so if you guys like it, pop it high up on your list, and let's move on. Next up, we have the Gigantoraptor, and yeah, this thing is absolutely massive. Here's the size of it in real life. So they're not really, like, sizing it up a huge amount there. It's already really, really big, but it almost looks like a gigantic version of an Oviraptor. Like, probably the same kind of family, I would suppose, but at the same time, like, that's just weird looking, man. So yeah, their whole idea here is that the males would have really nice colors and kind of extra feathers and patterns and stuff, and then the females would be very, very, like, bland and boring looking, which makes a lot of sense because in nature that is an extremely common thing. I've been getting back into fish keeping, and I gotta say, I don't really want any female fish unless I'm getting them to breed with each other, because the males look so much better, and that's just the way that they work in nature. They need to look good to impress the females, so something like this could be really cool. Another interesting thing about this creature is, oh my god, there's so much scrolling. Here we go. Here's a nice little, like, real life version of it beside a human. This right here is a very interesting image. This was an official ARK concept for the Gigantoraptor for ARK. So this was made by Dave Melvin, who does pretty much all of the creatures that you see on dossiers. He made all of those images themselves, and this was the original concept for this creature for ARK. It was scrapped, of course, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, if this creature does get added, it's more than likely going to look almost identical to this. I would say the new dossier would kind of look a little bit different, but just all in all, it's gonna look mostly like this, I would say. Really, really like the whole, like, colors and everything. And I mean, even just looking at this, like, you can get more excited about everything that you see here, because it's gonna definitely look a lot like this anyway. But yeah, I don't know, could be really cool. I mean, like, the Gigantoraptor, of course, was scrapped, so wildcard had the reason. I don't know, if it wins, it could be really cool to actually see this thing finally come to the game in this form. All right, this next one, I'll be honest, like, just even if you don't like the creature, I could see this one winning. Like, People be crazy over jumping spiders over the last couple of years because of that little like spider. Is it like it's an animation or like an app or something? I don't really know. I've seen it so many times I don't even know what it is. But yeah, so essentially jumping spiders have just had this massive surge of popularity just based on the whole fact that they're actually really cute in real life. I mean, this is one right here. If you're arachnophobic, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, like, I could totally see this one being added, and the idea of an actual jumping spider could be really fun as well. I mean, like, being able to, like, jump around in the dunes makes a lot of sense. If it could, like, latch onto surfaces as well, that could be kind of cool. But yeah, so some of their ideas and abilities here. I think that they've kind of... Yeah, this is an idea that I threw out a long time ago for the Arenio. If they're ever going to do a TLC, I said that they should be able to shoot like webs that could work as like zip lines, and it looks like that they kind of have that idea as well right here. Definitely could see that being added. I mean, maybe not for this guy, but for any other spider in ARK potentially. But yeah, so their whole idea here is that it would have like little venomous fangs, and of course it would be able to, like, I guess, you know, maybe slow creatures down or poison them for a certain amount of time. And yeah, I don't really know how big it would be. Like, there's no actual like reference here to size or anything, even when I'm looking up its specific creature name. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I would say, judging by this photo, that looks like a raptor maybe. So it would probably be around the same size as maybe like a Pulmonoscorpius or something like that. But yeah, so could be really cool. Obviously, another spider in the game is definitely appreciated. We don't have enough of them. We only have like one proper spider and then Bloodstalker as well. And of course, we have the Broodmother, but that's the boss. I don't know if they have anything else down here. I don't think that they do. But yeah, so I don't know, man. Like, the idea of a jumping spider could be great, and just the patterns as well would be really, really fun to work with for mutations and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know if you like it, pop it high up on your list, and I could definitely see it winning. Oh my god. Yeah, people love these things. I mean, they're really cute, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even like spiders that much, but yeah, that's kind of cute. So we have another returning creature. This thing's been in probably like at minimum 3 creature votes so far. This is the Gorgonops. And yeah, so they've basically kind of like redone the concept here with this guy, and they're saying that it should be more of like a deathworm hunter, which I think actually would suit it quite well. I mean, like, the idea of actually having a creature that's like a predator of the deathworm makes a lot of sense. Some cool little ideas that they actually had here that potentially they could do. I don't know if they would completely do these things, but they had different ideas based on the weather types. Based on their whole like taming methods. So say in like a heat wave, you'd have to lead it to some water, and then you could passively feed it some food. In an electrical storm, you could pet it and then feed it just to kind of comfort it from the thunderstorm, because it's like a big ass dog. And then in the sandstorm, you'd have to like lead it to some deathworms and essentially you know, get like kills with it, and then eventually it would increase its taming and everything. And they had some ideas for when it is tamed based on the weather types as well. Could be interesting to have a creature that does something like that. I mean, like, I'll be honest, like, a creature that has these abilities during the weather types makes a lot of sense, considering the fact that, you know, we don't really have anything like that currently in the game. Like, the Jerboa can tell us what type of weather it is, but all in all, like, all these creatures can't really do anything in these weather types. So having a creature that is, like, you know, made to go out in the weather makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I don't know what you guys think about this guy. Could be kind of cool. I think that if they did do this, I think that they wouldn't do that whole weather-based taming. I feel like they probably end up actually going with something a little bit different. Maybe having it, you know, kind of work the same as like a Karch, where you like mount onto it, and then you have to go tame, or not tame, you have to go kill some deathworms with it, and then once you get a certain amount of kills in a certain amount of time, you get it tamed or whatever. Could be probably like a little bit easier to implement it like that, because it would be a lot having all these different little taming method based on the actual weather. And also, weather types don't even last that long on Scorched. It's like 5 minutes, I think. So, you know, trying to like find one, wait for some weather, and then figure out how you're gonna tame it in that type of weather, I don't really know. We'll see. But yeah, so this is the actual size of it in real life. Very, very small, comes up to your knees, but obviously, you know, in ARK, things get sized up a huge amount. So yeah, can't really blame them. If you like this one, pop it high up on your list. Next up, we have the Fasolasuchus. I believe that's how you pronounce it. This guy is a big-ass lizard, man. This is the size of it in ARK, in the concept, and this is the size of it in real life. So again, a little bit smaller. I would say it's probably like at least the same length as like a Sarco or something there, but you know, they could make it a little bit bigger. When I look at it though, what I get is it's almost like a desert version of the Magmasaur. You know, it's like the same kind of size and shape almost as well, but obviously it doesn't have like fire cannons or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know, could be really cool to actually add something like this. They're also saying that it should have a platform saddle. Could definitely see that being added as well. And then yeah, they actually had another really cool idea here. It's almost like a Sarlacc pit where it kind of could just like sit in the sand and as like a giant bear trap, and you know, you could lead creatures into it and essentially it would trap them. And you can see it's kind of like gnawing on the leg of this rock elemental, and then using the platform saddle you could just shoot cannonballs at it and tame it up. Could be kind of cool to like have something that makes rock elemental taming a little bit easier. I know it's not that difficult, but what I'm saying is, you know, like this would be a little bit more fun than actually making a trap or anything like that. So I don't know, I actually kind of like this. This is definitely, this creature definitely suits Scorched quite well. You know, the idea of it just like being this big ass lizard that's like an apex out in the sand could be really cool. But yeah, I don't know, if you like it, pop it high up on your list. Definitely could see this one at least getting into the top 3, I'm gonna be honest. So this one is the Ledumahadi. I think, I don't really know how to actually pronounce its name, but this is a quadrupedal and bipedal creature, almost like a gigantic version of a iguanodon or a similarly sized version of a Spinosaur. But of course it is a herbivore, so it would kind of be like the herbivore version of a Spinosaur. It looks a little bit bigger than an actual Spinosaur though. Is that a T-Rex or a Giga? It's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, so the idea with this guy is, you know, you could essentially like change the stances. It could be in the quadrupedal form, which would probably work almost identical as the Spino. It would be a little bit faster in that form, and then you can kind of go into bipedal for like battling and stuff like that. Definitely could see something like this fitting into the game. I'm not so sure about Scorched specifically, but you know, having like a big ass herbivore, like I'm all for something like that. You know, I want more big herbivores that are like capable of taking down carnivores. You know, we don't have that many. I mean, like one that obviously comes to mind is the Therizino, and the Therizino is terrifying, you know, so having more scary herbivores would be really, really cool in the game. But yeah, here's the actual size of it in real life. It's around 3 meters tall, so it's not huge, but you know, they could definitely scale it up a huge amount here. I would say, like, judging by that, I would say that this little human right here, yeah, if we kind of scale it from there, that means that the actual version of it would probably be around this tall compared to, you know, up there. So it's probably almost like twice as tall in the actual concept here. But yeah, I don't know, something like this could be great. They also have this idea for like using its stuff for like bone armor and stuff like that. Like, again, these ideas are great, and like it's really good that people are putting some cool creativity into it, but like they're never going to do any of this. You know, they're adding a creature, not armor sets or anything like that. But you know, it can't hurt to try. At the same time though, definitely could see this being added to the game. Not so sure about Scorched, but it is a really cool creature, so yeah, pop it high up on your list if you like it. We have another returning creature, and this is the Armadillosuchus, and I can't remember what creature vote this thing was in. I feel like it was the Fjordur vote, maybe, possibly. I can't remember. It definitely wasn't the most recent one, or maybe it was. I can't exactly remember. There's been so many of them at this point. The whole idea with this guy is that it would essentially be a wrecking ball, that it would shoot out its tongue, grapple to things, and then be able to like swing around, like pivot off that point, or like, you know, just pretty much like wreck houses and stuff. Like, such a silly idea. I mean, like, it could kind of suit ARK at the same time. I don't know. The whole idea of like an armadillo though, you know, a creature like that out in the desert definitely suits. So yeah, here's what it looks like in real life. Very, very, very small. Nothing like what it is, of course, in this concept. But I mean, the whole idea of it shooting out its tongue, like, is that realistic? I don't know. It's more of like, it's kind of almost like the Bloodstalker, except instead of a spider, like a nimble little spider at the end, you have this massive wrecking ball that is like armored up and everything. So I don't really know. I don't know how it could really roll and spin if it's got its tongue in there. That part doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but yeah, I don't know. Like, if they added this creature, they'd probably make it somewhat similar to this, because I'm not really sure what else they could do with it and make it still really fun and make it more different than, you know, the Roll Rat and the what do you call it, the I can't even think of its name right now, the Dodic. There we go. Yeah, so I don't know, like, if it can roll like that, it's very similar to the Roll Rat, and you know, it's an armadillo type creature, so it's very similar to the Dodic, so they'd need to make a difference. So I don't know, something like this could be kind of cool. I don't know whether or not it actually would get added, but yeah, I don't know. Grappling hook tongue. Very, very strange idea. The whole idea here as well, like you can like latch onto a creature and then pull yourself in and like stun them or something like that. Again, like cool stuff, but yeah, I don't know if I could actually see that being added in that same way. It's just, I think it's too bizarro, you know, like being able to shoot out a grappling hook tongue doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, maybe it's tail, I don't know. So next up we have the Megaraptor, and the whole idea behind this is that this creature would fit the build of a rival to wyverns, which I don't know if I really like that a huge amount. I think wyverns need to be like the apex of the map, but you know, I guess it can't hurt to do something at least somewhat similar. The whole idea is that you could actually, I guess, feed it the different talons from wyverns, and it would give it different buffs. So if you feed it a flame talon, it basically stops you from getting burnt a huge amount. And then, yeah, there's like a couple other ones here as well. So based on what type of talon you feed it, it will get a different ability. So yeah, the whole idea with this guy is that it would essentially be a good creature to kill wyverns with. Definitely like that. I mean, if it could actually get different debuffs and stuff from the wyvern breaths and stuff like that, I don't know. I feel like that could actually suit quite well. Real life wise, it was quite a big creature. By the way, it is like, I'm not entirely sure about the actual name, but I do believe it's basically like the same thing. Maybe the Megaraptor's like a nickname for it, but this is roughly the same creature right here. So it's about 10 meters long. It's really long, but it's I would say it's probably about 4 meters tall-ish. So it's not insanely big, but yeah, obviously I don't know. I really like the actual dossier here. They went all out. It looks really good. One thing that they definitely could easily do is have it have some sort of like, you know, visual change when it like it's in the presence of wyverns. Almost kind of like the way that rock drakes, when they can sense that there's a reaper nearby, their feathers will like poke up and they'll get kind of excited almost. So something like that could be really cool for this creature as well. Definitely could see that happening. But yeah, I don't know. It could be really cool. I mean, like the idea of a creature that's going to be really good for killing wyverns makes a lot of sense. I don't really like the idea of it actually being better than wyverns completely, but at the same time, you know, yeah, I don't know. You see, the whole thing about wyverns in the lore is that they were essentially like added to just stop pretty much all progression for survivors. Like the whole story goes where like the world scar opened up and the wyverns flooded out. The ARK made that happen to basically punish the survivors. So yeah, I don't know, like having something like this then doesn't make a whole lot of sense lore wise, because why was this creature around? Why is it able to take down wyverns super easily? I don't know, but I guess it doesn't really matter a huge amount. Just in general, big ass theropod. I mean, like, it's pretty big anyway. And yeah, I don't know. If you like it, vote for it. Okay, well, that is the top 10. So yeah, cast your votes, guys. There's a link down below. I'm not going to show you guys what I'm voting for. This is like the default order right here. So I'll vote privately, and then I'll share what I voted for in the next video when we have the winner. Speaking of that, by the way, the voting period goes from now until May 1st. It's going to close on May 1st. So just in about 10 days or so, we're going to be able to vote for the next 10 days. And then on Friday, May 5th, we're essentially going to get the winner. So yeah, we don't have a huge amount of time, so definitely go over and do it now, I would recommend. But yeah, so there's obviously a link to all of this down below if you want to read through all the dossiers yourself or whatever like that. You can do that too. But yeah, just make sure that you actually do the voting properly. That's one thing I gotta say. And yeah, thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.